Hello everyone. I am Yoshimura from Tokyo Institute of Technology in Japan. First, I would like to appreciate the conference organizer for giving me this chance to give you the plenary talk in the third international conference on integrated natural resources and environmental management. Let me start to share my PowerPoint first. All right. This is the title slide. I will be talking about nested environmental models for integrated lake basin management, focusing on an example from Tonle Sap Lake, Cambodia. This is one of the important outcomes from our project funded by JST and JICA in Japan. And here you will see the several institutions both in Cambodia and Japan. First, I would like to start with the location of the Tonle Sap Lake. As you might know, this is located in Southeast Asia, and this is the lake. And then the blue line indicates the main stream of the Mekong River. So its flow from China goes through several countries to the Mekong Delta. And as you can see, the river basin, or where we have Tonle Sap Lake, is located in the downstream part of the Mekong, where the land is very flat. So the difference from the sea level is just a few meters there. And the most important hydrological feature of this lake is that we have one big flooding once a year in the rainy season. So in the rainy season, the water level in the Mekong River is a bit higher than dry season. This is the driving force to have water from the Mekong River into Tonle Sap Lake. So this part is called Tonle Sap River. The direction of the water flow is toward the north in the rainy season. And then in contrast, when we have a dry season, the lake water is drained to the downstream. So in this connecting part, we have reverse flow. So the flow of the direction of the flow changes twice a year. This is the important characteristic there. To get some image, I like to share the simulated movie of the water level here. So you can see the lake here, and then we overlay the output from the hydrological model, actually hydrodynamic model. The color indicates the depth. And then now we have a rainy season, and then the depth is large, and then after that, the inundated area is getting small again. The shallowest water level is around 1 meter. So in the shallowest condition, you can even walk through the lake. The size of the lake in the dry season is about 100 kilometers. So it's not a small lake, it's big. And then the largest water area when we have a rainy season is about 5 or 6 times larger than the area in the smallest size. So to understand this lake, there are some important keywords. So first one is the hydrological process. And because of the hydrological process and then the huge floodplain where we have a lot of vegetation, including the flooded forest, and then the good nutrient supply, those one resulted in a good production or active production at the primary level and secondary level. As a result, traditionally people rely on a fishery. So because of this, we can see the many floating village in the floodplain part. So they are building a house on the water, and then the house is floating on the water. So this means that they can stay on the water whole year. By changing the location of the house to find out the good fishing point, depends on the water level or seasons. Yes. So now I would like to insert a short movie showing you the floating village. So now I would like to show you the summary of the important point of this lake. This is the largest in the South Asia, located in the downstream of the Mekong, and then the unique hierarchical process. And then we can find this number 1 million people or even more rely on this lake system. So because of this hydrological dynamics, and also people rely on the fishery, and the fishery provide the major protein. We can find the statistics, more than half of the animal protein is coming from the freshwater lake. This is probably highest in the world. So the Cambodian or local culture, economy, and identity are coming from this lake. That's why people call it the heart of for Cambodia. Regarding the biodiversity, we can find those numbers for plant. There are more than 300 species identified, and then we can find more than 200 bird species and more than 100 fish species. And because of this fact, it's being registered as one of the Ramsar site. On the other side, we can also observe the environmental degradation. Unfortunately, so the fish catch is decreasing recently, and then we have education, the issue in education, health, and economy, particularly in a floating village, because their income is very limited to the fishery, basically. If you are looking at the environmental component, we have some change over time. For example, water resource management is ongoing in Cambodia and also in upstream country of the Mekong. At the same time, we do have a pollution like eutrophication, chemical pollution, and also biological pollution. So overall, the ecosystem is changing. We can say degradation is ongoing. Regarding the health issue, we did the field survey. This is based on the interview survey in 2018 and 2019. So we summarize the result, and then this is the major findings. So here on the bottom, we write major disease like diarrhea, cough, fever, eye disease, skin disease, and so on. So the upper part, we have statistics from adult, and then children, older children, and the young children. And then color indicate the style of their life. For example, blue one is the result from the floating village, where people stay on the water whole year. Orange one indicate the result from the water and land-based. This is the village. They stay on the water in the rainy season and the land in the dry season. So half floating. And then gray one is basically land-based. So it depends on the style or relation to the water. They have a different proportion of the disease. So y-axis indicate the number of the people in proportion who get those disease. So basically, the blue one indicate a higher one than other style. And then diarrhea is very common in the water-based and water land-based. So this proportion indicate the people who get those disease at least once a year. So this is a serious condition where we need to bring the countermeasure. We need to improve the situation there. It's related to the water source, water use, and also sanitation and so on, waste management too. So getting those background, we decided to design the project. And then at the time we found that some indicator showing the environmental degradation starting from 2000, around 2000. So this graph is showing you the ecological integrity, or we can say environmental quality. This has been degrading since 2000 and it's ongoing because of the several issues like pollution, climate change, deforestation, and so on. And then we like to change this direction toward upward by bringing a pollution control and proper management. And if you understand ecosystem, we have a concept like ecosystem function and ecosystem service. So if you find out or develop the wise use of the natural resource, I think it's possible. We think it's possible to raise the value of the lake higher than even the original state. This is kind of future perspective. For example, the famous or the common idea is bringing the ecotourism. We don't know how much potential this has, but it should be huge. So in a combination with the proper environmental management or control, we try to bring this the use of the natural resource in this lake too. To realize this one, we set up the major purpose of the project, which is to strengthen the scientific and administrative capacity for water environmental management of this lake. To reach this goal, we designed the major output. First one is the environmental database, and second one, water environment analytical tool, which is basically the simulation model of the lake. Third one is a platform to connect the people and information and technology and to activate the movement for the basic research and the actual management of the environment. To reach this goal, we divide all the member researchers into 7 groups. And then this flow show our kind of our work and then the connection between the groups. So in the first phase, beginning first half of the project, from group 1 to group 4 were active. So each group focusing on the one component in the water environment. First one, for example, hydrology and hydrodynamics. Second one, sediment and water quality. Third one, chemical substance. Fourth one, the pathogen and phytoplankton. So we did field survey. We also use remote sensing technique, and also we try to model this environmental process. And in the second half, we try to integrate them. So this means, for example, combination or integration of a hydrological model with a hydrodynamic model, and also even with the water quality model. Those models were applied to do the risk assessment and scenario analysis in group 6. And then the last group 7, are responsible for social implementation of those output, so-called technology transfer. Tangible output can be listed like this. So starting with the establishment of the platform, we did prepare some publication, include a video leaflet and guidebook and technical book, Water and Life in the Tonle Sap Lake. This will be published early next year from the Springer. I hope you get some interest in this. And then together with them, we have developed the water environmental analytical tool and long-term monitoring system. So now I would like to explain what is our nested environmental models. Just remember the lake property here. The lake is located in a transboundary basin, and then it's highly dynamic. The point is that the size of the lake is changing over time, and this has a huge flat plain. So it's difficult to define the border, actually. To deal with this issue, we set up the 3 different models, and then they are combined. So first, we set up the monitoring scheme, including the remote sensing. And then by getting the environmental data from those monitoring, we set up the 3 different type of models. First one is basin model, second lake model, the third one is village model. They have different spatial coverages. For example, first one, basin model, cover the whole Mekong River Basin, including the Tonle Sap Lake. So this model simulates the inundation pattern, basically hydrological process. And then this can give the boundary condition of the one smaller model. This case, lake model. Lake model simulate the whole lake here, getting the boundary condition from the basin model. And this second model, lake model, has the structure of the 2-dimensional hydrodynamic model. And then on this, we have sediment component, nutrient component, and we are working on the primary production part now. And then the third one focus on the village scale, which is about 10 kilometers, including the major village. This is based on the 3-dimensional hydrodynamic model, including a vertical flow too. And then instead of working on the nutrient or eutrophication, this village model focus on the pathogen and the health risk of the local people, because we have some population there in the village. This is a slide showing the kind of variable or parameter which we can monitor, for example, by using the remote sensing, basically the satellite image. We can get quite good information about this climate, hydrology, hydrodynamics, and land cover, flooring house. We can observe flooring house too, and vegetation distribution, sediment, and primary production to some degree. Yes. The next slide show you the detailed spatial coverage of each component. So the green one is so-called basin model, including the Mekong River and Tonle Sap part. And then 2D model, this blue part is covered by the 2D model, and then 3D model is one location within the lake. So now I like to show you the one example calculating the phosphorus concentration in the lake. Like this. So basically in the shoreline, we can observe the higher concentration. Simulated period is from 1999 and for 4 years in this case. So this is actually reproduction of the past condition. So now we see when we have a higher concentration, this red indicates 30 microgram per liter. So this is actually eutrophic. We have a good chance to have a algal bloom. But in the rainy season, the water it get a little bit clear, and then this show the lower concentration. This is one of the example of the simulating water quality, and then this model can be applied to different type of scenario analysis. Now, I like to take attention to this point. This is the connecting point of the river and lake, where we have one of the major floating village. It's called Chunokchu. So this is the land formation, and then this part is the water. Blue part is water, and then left side we have a lake, and then right side we have Tonle Sap River. Green and yellow, this is the land, and then the white dot indicate the location of the floating houses. So this is a major village. And then on the north side, we have also some village. By giving some assumption, like when people go to toilet and then how much solid waste they produce and so on, we did the simulation of the concentration of the E. coli. Yes. So in the next movie, you will see how the water, how this E. coli concentration change over time and space. And then red color indicated an acceptable level for drinking purpose. Blue one is relatively safe. This is one of the examples. So as you saw in this movie, we have a different distribution of the water quality over time. And then this point J, this is a bit, this is on the shore, and then actually this is connecting point of the village to go to the land access point. And since water is stranded, so the water quality doesn't get better even in the afternoon. So you can see it's decreasing over time from the morning, but still much higher than 1 CFU per 100 milliliter. So this is not acceptable range. So obviously we have to be careful taking water in this area of the river. If we go to the middle of the river in the mainstream, then maybe it's okay, we can get the safe water, or we should install some treatment facility for water quality. Right? So this is one of the example, and then this result can be used for the quantitative risk assessment with a different scenario. For example, the installation of the treatment facility for drinking water or the wastewater, something like this. So there are some other example of the application, and then I like to close my talk with the introduction of the platform. So this is the overall framework. I think some of you are familiar to this, so the use of the model. So by applying the environmental model, we can do the simulation or reproduction of the past condition, which help us understanding the major process there. But in addition to this, we can give the different scenario, let's say different boundary condition, different initial condition, different social condition too, right? So by comparing those results, we can discuss, we can address which is the effective measure. And then we can use this information to make a decision in the management. So the models, if you use it in a proper way, this is very useful to find out the major practice in the management. For example, we can do this calculation. This one is a model output, or this gray dot are output from the model, and then this shows the relation between the water depths and the inundated area. And then if you look at the peak in different timing, this is from 2011, this is from 2019. So this year was quite dry. So the peak water level was only 3.5 meter, which is much lower than this level, which is 8 meter. And then partly because of this reduction in the peak water level, they observe also the reduction in the fish catch. For example, in one of the floating village, they observed 95% reduction in the fish catch. This is a very large, right? Because they can catch only 5% of the usual year. So we need some more study about the fish, but if this reduction of the water level is a problem, then we can think about how much water this lake needs, right? And then to think about the volume of water, we can translate this information by using the model. So for those two water level, we can check the lake water volume in the lake, and then the difference was found to be about 40 cubic square kilometer. So this is the size of the water volume. We should bring some control. The relation to the upstream dam is not so simple and actually complicated because we have a floodplain there. So we need some integration of the information models to come up with an effective measure. Another example is like this. This is show the relation between the total phosphorus loading to the lake and then the percentage area of the eutrophic part. So depends on the season, we found a different relation. But good point is that this kind of graph can tell us what is permissible phosphorus loading in each season. For each season, we can even calculate the maximum allowable concentration in the tributaries. So this is obviously dependent on the season. In a rainy season, when we have plenty of water, the critical concentration is a bit higher, up to 50 microgram per liter. But if you look at the dry season, this critical concentration should be lower because in the dry season, we have a lot of internal loading in a shallow condition in the lake. And then this is a very different pattern if you compare this critical concentration to the observed concentration in the rivers. So this part, somehow we need some control, right? So in summary, I just listed up the important condition in the Southeast Asia based on our observation. So the system has distinct seasonality and then basically high productivity together with the eutrophication. And then the water demand is increasing under the climate change. So those were the issues happening at the same time. It's complicated, but this nested model we presented today can be very powerful, depends on how we are going to use this. This helps us understand in the system. And also this can help us to choose to make a decision which countermeasure is effective and feasible. So through this application, I think we also able to develop the tropical limnology and overall regional sustainability. At the end, I would like to show you this slide. This is something about the platform for aquatic ecosystem research. We call it PEAR. This is serving as a hub for connecting people, organization, and information. For this purpose, we have the side of the Facebook and website, and then we try to provide the useful information to work on the tropical lake. If you're interested, please access this site by taking this picture of the QR code. So with this, I hope you get some image of the Tonle Sap Lake and our model system, and I hope we have a chance to discuss something more in the conference and in the future. Thank you for listening.